So last team we're going to hit on this episode, Texas A&M Aggies just signed the #1 recruiting class of all time according to the recruiting rankings. What does that really mean? That doesn't buy you anything. All these guys got to come in here. They got to develop. They got to work hard. They got to fit in the system. And Jimbo and company have got to make the most out of them. But, of course, you'd rather have the #1 class than not. And what's everybody saying? Oh, $30 million, oil money. Texas A&M just paying for this entire class. Jimbo Fisher was ready for that one. First question asked on National Signing Day. And my God, he starts cussing here, which I love. I will, anytime these SEC coaches want to cuss, I'm going to highlight it. And he calls out Nick Saban here. He does not call out Lane Kiffin or Kirby Smart by name, but this is who he's talking about here. He's asked about NIL. He goes off for a good 3 minutes here. I'm going to just play the whole thing because it's that damn good. But let's kick it over to Jimbo, who really takes issue with these people saying that NIL is the only reason that Texas A&M having so much success in recruiting.
I know it's been on your mind. So you stacked top 10 classes together now for 4 years in a row. I don't think there was ever even two before that. So do you kind of consider it a slap in the face or whatever when there's these thoughts out there that it's because a lot of money is being spent and just your thoughts?
Here's what I'm going to say, and this is point blank. This is point blank because here's my problem. There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million. There is no $10 million. This is garbage, okay? And it pisses me off that people, and here it comes from a site called Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread. Then everybody runs with it. So it's written on the internet as gospel. How irresponsible is that? I'm going to tell you, there's some very reputable writers in college football and sports that wrote it and have said it and have done things. That's unbelievable to me. When I first heard it, I laughed. I said, oh, yeah, what a clown. I didn't even think anything of it because I don't have social media. And they kept building it, and lately I've heard more about it. To me, it's insulting to the players that we recruited that's why they would come here. You ever been to a game here? You ever come to school here and see the education? You ever talk about the 12th man, the Aggie Network when you're done? There ain't a better university in this country. And it's insulting to what you say. And all these, and we got writers who have said it and done it off Sliced Bread. A guy named Slice who made it up. Love to see who Sliced Bread is and put it out there with Sliced Bread. Let me find out where it comes from. And then to have coaches in our league and across this league to say it, clown acts. All right? Irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guys griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off. The other thing, when you look at vice president, I get another one. Vice president of Notre Dame. Supposed to be a reputable university, right? That's a heck of a person leading a reputable university. I'd be real proud if I hired that guy. Read it off Sliced Bread. But they say it because it's written on the internet. We worry about the kids and social media and internet. How about grown-ups? How about the guys that are supposed to be setting an example? How about writers who are supposed to be writing the right thing? How about coaches that are supposed to be doing the right thing? And I'll tell you what, I know how some of those guys recruit too. Go dig into that. I know the history, I know the tradition, I know things. Trust me, you don't want to go down that avenue. It's ridiculous, and it's irresponsible, and it's unbelievable. I ain't just talking about one. Multiple people got NIL issues. It's funny, when Nick Saban said his quarterback got an $800,000 deal, it was wonderful. Now it ain't wonderful no more, huh? But ours, we ain't got that. Ours are on record what comes up. We ain't doing all them big deals. There ain't none on our place that we know of. That's funny when you do it. And then we gripe about the transfer portal, then you guys take more than everybody. What's about that? And what goes on? The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If you don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. All right? We ain't going nowhere. It's an absolute joke that people put the hard work in and do it. It's irresponsible, but it's funny when they get it, it's all okay. Ball games are changing, man. And it ain't because of NIL and what goes on. It's pretty irresponsible of all of them. They're clowns.
We'll go next.
If they got a problem with it, come see me. I ain't a hard guy to find. We'll be in some meetings. You can say anything you want. We can do anything you want. I ain't got no problem with it. I promise you that shit.
All right. So, I mean, again, he was ready for this one, and he's getting some thoughts off his mind here, without a doubt, fired up. But, at the end of the day, all this stuff's legal. And I think his point being is Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, they can do this too. And what they were doing before, they can't do it anymore. And he's talking about buying players illegally. They're buying players legally, and everybody can do it. But that can't be the sole reason that you come to the school. I think that's what other people have taken issue with this recruiting class by Texas A&M. And I certainly don't think it's any coincidence that Texas and Texas A&M particularly, they're going head to head on a lot of kids. They both had top 5 recruiting classes. I think Texas A&M, we all know Texas is headed to the SEC soon. We don't know when just yet, but the Aggies have got to stay above the Longhorns to make sure that their ability, the rise of that program since joining the SEC. You get that head start. They're light years ahead of Longhorns right now. They got to stay above them, and that it chiefly includes recruiting. So I certainly think NIL was a part of these classes, but is it the sole reason? No, because I know a lot of the guys that A&M got, they were getting NIL offers at these other schools. So it's not like they're getting blown out of the water and A&M's the only one doing this. I just love the fact that Jimbo's out here calling out sliced bread, and I still haven't quite figured out who old sliced bread is. Maybe we can get him on the show to get his side of the story. But, it is wild because he's sitting here, Nick Saban, he's telling everybody Bryce Young's making $1 million. He hadn't even played down. What the hell was that all about? That was about recruiting. And I've already had Alabama fans come at me. He's like, hey, you dumbass, he was at Alabama already. It wasn't about recruiting Bryce Young. Nick Saban put that out there at a Texas high school coaches event the day before SEC Media Days. So he knew he would maximize exposure. He knew everybody in the country was going to be writing about Bryce Young and how much money he's getting paid at Alabama, and he hadn't even taken a damn snap. Just imagine what you could get. You can come to Alabama. Let's not be fools here. And that is exactly what Jimbo's calling out, where, hey, it's fine if your quarterback's making $1 million, but it's not fine if we utilize the NIL, which is perfectly legal to do, and now we're beating you on the recruiting trail. You're just bitching and moaning because we beat you in recruiting. And I know Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Jimbo Fisher, they take this shit to heart, all these recruiting battles. So that's why you're seeing Fisher getting so heated here, because he's not doing anything that those other schools can't be doing, but they're bitching and moaning because they're falling behind in the recruiting worlds and lost so many recruiting battles to the Aggies this year. Now, moving on again to A&M's class, I think the most important part of what the Aggies have done, they got loads and loads of talent coming here, but this defensive line, just such a critical component of a championship caliber team, and that is something that Jimbo Fisher hit on, references the San Francisco 49ers, which I'm still sticking. That still stings because I'm a Green Bay fan, but let's play this clip anyway.
Coach, with the 3 5-star defensive linemen, I know a lot of it starts with defensive line for you. How important was that part of the
guys
class?
Who can control the game, the guys who put their hand in the dirt, are the guys that matter. And that, as far as can change the game immediately. And it gives you so much freedom if you got legitimate guys all the way across the board that can't create double teams and pass rush, can't create big double teams and run. They're getting a lot of one-on-ones, and you don't have to be vulnerable in the secondary to create. Now, you can also blitz and create unbelievable packages, but it lets you the multitude of things you have up front when you can control the front, just like San Francisco did. You watch San Francisco's front in the playoffs. They were unbelievable how they did things up front in their secondaries and limited how great a defense they played. And we hopefully we've got them, the big guys across the board, the ends on the edge, the athleticism, the size, the power, the guys, the multitude of positions they can play, be moved around and matched up. Very excited about every one of them. Extremely excited.
And last thing here on the recruiting, I thought these were 2 interesting nuggets here that Jimbo went into here on just the fact that this class was largely put together by the players recruiting each other. They, I think that is instrumental to these elite recruiting classes, and it's something we heard time and time again from a lot of these guys being recruited by the Aggies. They really wanted to play together and do this together and put A&M over the top. And don't forget, people look at it as this last season. Aggies, would they lose 5 games this season? 4 games, 4 games, whatever the hell it was. And they look, well, how in the hell you get number 1 recruiting class? That's not how the recruiting calendar works. It's typically the year previous when you're really, really getting these foundational, these relationships and the off season all to work on them. And Texas A&M was the nation's second best team 2 seasons ago when they only had 1 loss. It was to Alabama. Should have went to the college football playoff. We don't have to relitigate all that happened. But this signing class, it was, the foundation was laid that season when you were in the elite class. And Texas A&M, I believe they've averaged a number 4 ranked recruiting class since Jimbo Fisher's been there. I'm not counting the class he got when he's got about 2 weeks to put it together. I'm talking about the classes that he's had at least a year to work on. So this ain't out of the blue where Ole Miss, signing all these 5 stars and they had nowhere near that capability. This is completely different. So that's something that Jimbo also hit on, just being centrally located in the country, being surrounded by so much talent in the state of Texas, and their ability to go nationwide to get these kids. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
At what point, this class is going to be the highest ranked class in the history. At what point did you kind of realize that this was a special class? And my second question is...
when I know it's a special class, let me answer it one before you ask your second one, is this. They recruited each other every bit that we recruited them. We were coming off that 9-1 year, and I thought we were the second best team in this country going in. I really did. Should have been in the playoff. All right? We weren't. Okay, we lived it. Those kids saw that. We went in here, and the atmosphere and environments in that stadium last year, is there a better place to go watch a game? The Alabama game, even the game we lost Mississippi State, the atmosphere, environments, early games, the Auburn game, the South Carolina game, those games, and they were here seeing that. You know what I'm saying? And they knew they wanted to be a part of something. They wanted to be the first to do something somewhere. They recruited each other as much as we recruited them. There was a bond between those guys and a unity that those guys went together and said, you know something? In football, it takes all of us to win a championship. That's what we want to do. And I think that was a big part of this whole scenario of how it did and how it went together.
And I know that you mentioned that talking about the early signing period, and that you said you'd even like to have it in August.
I'll ask you my annual question about being centrally located to, I think, 5 of the largest 13 cities in the nation, but then also being able to go outside the state's borders as well.
When you count, we have 8 different states and 2 different countries. So I guess that's 9 outside. And listen, we're going to recruit. Listen, we're in as good a recruiting base as there is in the country. Why shouldn't we have the number 1 class? Houston, the player, those guys can't drive up an hour and come to school here. I guess that's illegal, huh? And what they do. Houston is a tremendous city. Dallas, San Antonio, the Austin area, the East Texas. There's not better situation. And we're going to recruit all those kids that we possibly can, that we can get. We can win national championships with. We can win SEC championships with, can be pro players, and won all that. But then also, guys have always come into Texas and taken players. We have to go nationally. You're in a global world right now. The ability to go to Florida, to go to Georgia, to go to Mississippi, to go to New Jersey, or go to Pennsylvania, go to Tennessee. They're all in our footprint. And you come here, the education you get, quality of life, go watch a ball game in there, like they said. None of those guys seen a ball game like that. Or in that, not just the Alabama game, every week they come to. Our 12th man and our fans are not better in the country in what they do. And for us, we have to go out and be able to, as I say, chirp and take the top players across the country that fit in here, that make us the program we can be. And we're very happy. And it's amazing now that we are branding ourselves nationally. When kids get here, they fall in love with the place. You listen to them, what they talk, and the relationships they have. And let me tell you something. A&M, I say it 100 times. The people is the key to A&M. All these buildings, all this, it ain't that. It's the people. The relationships that are here, the genuineness is here, and the sincerity that is here in this organization. And these are 50-year commitments, not 4 or 5-year commitments. You're in that Aggie family, you're in it for life. And that's what it's about. And for us to be able to go out and do that is tremendous. And people come here, they love it. It's an absolute blessing. Like I said, we got 8 states, and then we went across the country and found one. All right, I think he came over here and found us when he came to camp. But amazing guys, and those guys, it's blessed, and we're going to continue to do that. But we want the homegrown guys as much as we possibly can, because there's great football here. But we also got to get the best players in this country.
And then last thing here, we've not heard from Jimbo since they hired DJ Durkin, but little window into what he was thinking with hiring DJ Durkin and how the Aggies, the plan on the defensive side of the ball will remain largely the same with defensive coordinator DJ Durkin.
Yeah.
And then I believe we haven't talked to you since the hiring of DJ Durkin and then the promotions in the staff as well.
I've been very excited about that. I mean, DJ Durkin, I think, brings a lot to the table. He and Coach Santucci, being co-coordinators, with this, and we're going to stay as a 4-down team. We're going to keep the things in which we do, and we will add new packages with the new coordinators coming in to create some things in no huddle and third downs and different things that we'll have, and we'll always constantly add. And I think we have 2 great guys. We kept the great staff intact, which I believe is one of the best staffs in college football offensively, things in which we do. And then Elijah moving up assistant head coach and run game coordinator. Promotions he's done, what he's done is done a great job. And our whole staff. I mean, other guys get promotions. There'll be a lot of them that we want to do that with. Can't get everybody at once. Offensively, James Coley will move as a co-coordinator with us on offense and what goes on. He'll also be on offense. I think he's done a great job in recruiting in the future of our game and knows this. And he and our offensive staff, we'll do. Him and Darryl will work closely together in what we do and stay in that relationship and where we go and what we do. And I think we got some great guys. Coach Adazio coming in. Awesome guy I've known for a long time. I mean, he when he was at Florida, when he was at Boston College, when he was at Temple, tremendous line coach. I thought as good as anywhere, any time. The guys I played against, I always thought his guys were hard, tough, competitive, smart, but were really prepared to play the game and understood how to compete and understood the ins and outs of protection and run stuff, and I think does as good a job as anybody, and we're very blessed to have him. And plus, you got another head coach on staff that, and other guys have been like Darryl and some other guys have been head coaches. And, it's really good.
All right, so hey, man, this show's already going long, and really only got to talk about 3 teams really, and what's been going on across the SEC. We will get to we got a number of press conferences to get to, a number of interviews this week, hopefully, that we get some insight across the SEC. We're going to be staying on this Auburn story, of course, what's been going on with Brian Harsin. We're going to try to go back to 5 shows this week because there's so much content. So stay tuned. The rest of the action, we got Nick Saban, we got Shane Beamer, we got Eli Drinkowitz, we got Kirby Smart. We've got so many other coaches and their comments to break down, and that'll be on the rest of the week. So don't think I'm ignoring all y'all, but hell, we're going on an hour here, and just so much news to capture what we missed from the vacation week. But hey, and hopefully, as long as he's not still hungover, we get Cousin Shane on the line here for an episode this week, hopefully. So hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the show. Great to be back. I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next one.